All right, what's up, guys? So, Austin Sweet with two T's. I don't know why I had to feel like I had to say that. I don't, if it's sweet sweat either way, but it was sweat. Actually, no, it's sweet. I don't freaking know. I don't, it's whatever, bro. Tomato, tomato. But anyways, he uploaded a video titled "10 Meanest Players in NBA History." Yeah, it was a supporter in my live stream, Illy. He was overall talking on this video, and so I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and check this out because we be talking about sports a lot. But anyways, yeah, of course they're gonna show Michael Jordan, bro. I almost said Michael Jackson. I was like, bro, I need to catch myself when I make mistakes like that. I almost said it, but anyways, let's go ahead and get into this video, guys. Make sure you go subscribe to Austin Sweet for more videos like this. And that being
Since
said,
basketball is one of the largest professional sports in the world, the players that become big stars in the NBA most of the time get treated like celebrities. They get put in a role where people look up to them and expect them to be role models. But just because they're put
I know,
in this
right?
position,
It's like the thing is, it's like, okay, be a role model, give out some motivational speeches, but I'm like, when somebody, says or does something to you, I'm like, that role model stuff is out the window.
and they have good basketball skills doesn't mean they have good people skills. Because there's been a lot of great NBA players that off the court and even on the court are flat out jerks. And today we're looking at 10 of them. The 10 meanest players in NBA history, based on their on-court actions, stories that have been told about them, or any public information that's out there. Starting with number 10, Blake Griffin. There's a lot of people
Yeah, Blake Griffin, I'm like, because what is it, just not too long ago, he was, he did something to that guy. I can't remember if he gave him a hard foul or he just overall just pushed him or something. But he was he pulled his mouthpiece out and he's sitting there laughing in the guy's face. I'm like, bro, come on, man. Don't do that. Don't do that. But he seemed like he's that type where it's he comes off as he's joking around, but it's that man, he just trolling people.
Could have made it into this number 10 spot, but I decided to go with Blake, and here's why. After winning the dunk contest, Blake became an instant fan favorite, but since then, he's kind of turned out to be a It first started with the incident of him punching the Clippers equipment manager in the face at a restaurant in Toronto and breaking his own hand. And then there was the falling out with Chris Paul after the two used to be close. And we can't blame all of that on Blake because there's a lot that went into it, but when things start to pile up, it can make that person look bad. And now there's the situation with his ex-girlfriend, where he was accused of abandoning her and their two children to be with Kendall Jenner, especially because Blake Griffin was seen with Kendall just weeks after he canceled his wedding day with his ex-girlfriend, and has even been sued by her for not paying child support, along with a lot of other things. Keep in mind, though, that these are only accusations by his ex-girlfriend, and they are his own private issues. But like I said, when all these things start to add up, it starts to make him look like a bad person. Number 9. Rajon.
That's the, Rondo, I feel like he gonna be on this list. But yeah, that's the, what the man said, it's his personal life. I feel like us as fans shouldn't, the only thing I feel like that we should focus on is his career and overall the legacy that he just leaves behind. The personal life stuff, it's gonna be things that we come across, it's gonna be stuff that we read about and talk about, but I feel like that, that shouldn't, and that's what I was freaking Pete Davidson was talking about on Saturday Night Live, overall talking on, I feel like this might be a bad example. I'm not telling y'all to go based off of what I said. I mean, y'all don't want to like him, y'all don't like him, that's on you. But anyways, but he was overall saying you don't throw away R. Kelly's career based off of it's what he did was wrong. And overall, it's but that's just something. It's that's on him. But his music, the music that he left to us, it's that's something where it's we should still be able to enjoy it. Just overall, not what he was doing once when he left the studio and man was out here being weird. But yeah, it's career, personal life, separate. Okay, respect the career. Personal life, it honestly shouldn't matter to people, but I know with some people they're oh, well, I think that's a statement that should only be, everybody should be, you should be worried about personal life if you want to. No, you shouldn't, because it ain't got nothing to do with yours. Okay, so
Rondo.
Moving on.
Ever since he debuted in Boston, Rondo's been described as a jerk with a huge ego by fans, coaches, and Garnett, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen. And it was something that clearly followed him through the rest of his career, like when he was on the Mavs and started yelling back and forth with Rick Carlisle in the middle of a game, which led to a 1-game suspension. And then when he caught a lot of heat for calling an NBA referee a fat while he was on the Kings. And most recently when he gave the Pelicans 5 minutes to offer him a better contract than the Lakers before he signed with them instead. And these are just a few examples of why he's been labeled as a cocky guy with an attitude problem.
Oh yeah.
Number 8. Latrell Sprewell. Sprewell was a talented player, but just a bad dude personally. It all started early on when he infamously...
Somebody just followed me on, oh, yeah, well... Thank you for following me on Twitch. I'm not even streaming right now. That stuff still pops up if you're streaming. That's so weird. Huh, yeah, I guess. Thank you for the follow. But I'm not streaming. That's weird, bro. I'm like, all right, cool. Shout out to them.
Choked
Just
out.
saying, like, yes, I did get into Twitch streaming, so occasionally, if in the middle of a video, like, I'm gonna have to figure out how to, if I really start blowing up on Twitch, I'm not trying to be in the middle of a video and that thing just keeps going off and off and off and things, but anyways,
and punched
I was like, I thought that was the video. I was just like, this man got a Twitch following. I'm like, all right,
head coach in practice for telling him to make better passes. But even then, that 68-game suspension wasn't enough of a lesson for him, because he'd get into another fight in practice with Jerome Kersey. Got kicked out, came back with a 2x4, and got kicked out again and threatened to come back with a gun. And then on top of all of that, he turned down a 3-year, $21 million contract because he said it wasn't enough to feed his family.
You serious?
Bro, are you kidding me? $21 million. I'm like, bro, is your family the Duggar family? Bro, do you got, like, I'm saying, like, is you Samoan? Like, bro, what kind of family do you got? Like, bro, that is crazy. I'm like, bro, I got enough money for my family, my family's family, the friends. I got, bro,
Which led to him never getting another contract offer again. Number 7.
That's crazy.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Kareem's without a doubt a top 5 player, and most people even have him as high as the top 3 player of all time. But just because he was great on the court doesn't mean he was great off the court, because during his playing days, he was one of the media's least favorite players. He was a real introverted guy that always hated the media, the post-game interviews, reporters, and really didn't care for fans. In Magic Johnson's book, he wrote about how when he was
people are like that, it's just, they're not like fan friendly. They're just overall like, hey, look, I just came here to play and stuff, like play basketball. Like, that's it. Like, I ain't come here for all this extra stuff. I guess I can't understand why. But at the same time, I'm like, yo, if you got like a fan come up to you, just be like, oh, hey, what's up, man? Like, then, hey, I'm like, all right, hello. Like, don't expect me to be here to hear your whole life story. I'm like, I'm just going to, like, just say, hi, how you doing? Cool. Or like, hey, well, I got to go and stuff. Like, sometimes fans can be a little bit weird. But anyways, that's why I try to, like, tell, like, my fans that at least, like, hey, look, just see me as a, like, as a friend or something. Don't give me, like, that Beyonce treatment. Don't treat me differently and stuff. Treat me as if you was just, like, you knew me for years or something. You see me on a daily basis, but...
Ball boy as a kid and asked Kareem for an autograph, he ignored him and walked away. And on top of things like that, Kareem would refuse to talk to any reporter who acted too happy or excited when they met him, or that tried to give him a hug. And would constantly do things like refusing to stop reading the newspaper when he was being interviewed. He always felt that the media was out to get him, and always tried to twist athletes' words around to make money. Today, Kareem said that he regrets acting that way, but that hasn't stopped teams from refusing to offer him jobs that he's been extremely interested in. Like how he's been trying to become an NBA head coach since 1999. Number 6. Dennis Rodman. On the court, Dennis Rodman made a reputation for being a great hustle guy and an all-time great rebounder and defender. But he was also known for fighting players, getting under other players' skin, headbutting a referee, and kicking a cameraman for no real reason. The headbutt was more of a tap, but it still shouldn't have happened. And it did
Yeah,
cost
it's like-
Rodman $200,000.
Dang.
And then for tripping over a camera, he kicked a cameraman with a low blow that put the man face down on the ground for a solid 10 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And that cost Dennis Rodman an 11-game suspension. And then on
Yeah,
top
because
of
it's
all
like, bruh, like, I'm saying, like, I don't know, like, I guess maybe he could have moved his legs, but still, though, it's like, you don't kick somebody over some stuff like that, man.
he's been arrested for domestic violence twice, and
Dang.
became friends with the guy
Oh, yeah.
who wanted to take out the entire United States. Number 5, Kevin Garnett. Most
Yeah,
NBA
somebody like that. So it's like shout out to Illy. He's a well-known fan in my stream, but he he was talking about this.
players use
Kevin
trash
Garnett.
talking to get into other players' heads to try to get an advantage. But KG's a different kind of guy, because he would just randomly say the most hurtful personal things
Yeah.
possible to try and destroy certain grown men's existence. He called Charlie Villanueva a cancer patient, wished Team Duncan a happy Mother's Day on Mother's Day, knowing that his mom had already passed away, told
Oh wow. Oh, I didn't know it was that bad. Like, yeah, Illy, that's the fan that's way worse. Way worse than what he said to Carmelo Anthony. Like, yeah, he talked on like his wife tasting like Honey Nut Cheerios, which is stupid, but at the same time, I'm like, yeah, that's disrespectful, bro. I'm like, nah. I'm surprised ain't nobody try to jump this man afterwards. That's crazy.
Carmelo Anthony his wife tasted like Honey Nut Cheerios, and has made 2 grown men cry on the court. And
Wow.
even during one game, in Joakim Noah's rookie season, waiting for a player to shoot free throws, Noah told Garnett that he was his favorite player as a kid, and that he had his poster on the wall. And KG responded with 2 words: F you. Number 4, Kobe Bryant.
Bro, what is he so mad for? Somebody like that, I'm sorry. I'm like, it was crazy too, because I remember I had like a Kevin Garnett bobblehead when I was a kid. I'm like, I'm glad I don't have that mess no more. I probably would have thrown that away. Yeah, I'm like, you being mad disrespectful to people. I'm like, that's, to me, I'm like, yeah, especially the Mother's Day one. I would have forgot that we was playing the game, and I definitely would have tried to cause bodily harm to that man. I'm like, no. You ain't gonna just say that and then just think like, oh, the rest of the game is just gonna be normal. Like, nah. Like, I'm gonna make your life a hell saying some stuff like that. Nah, that's disrespectful on so many levels. I don't care, like, overall, what you're trying to do for the game. Stuff like that will get you hurt. I'm like, if not worse. So I'm like, it's like, look, there's just lines that you just do not cross. I'm like, if you playing a game, play the game. But if you saying disrespectful stuff like that, you better be like one of these trolls on the internet, hide behind a computer saying it. But I'm like, for you bold enough to say it to a person's face, yeah, bro. I'm like, you got something coming your way.
The main reason Kobe catches a lot of hate is because he can come off as extremely
Rip
arrogant
Kobe.
and cocky. But on top of that, there was his case back in 2003, where a lot of people still think he was guilty, but got off easy because he was an athlete. And then on top of that, Kobe was extremely competitive, and has admitted that he really didn't know how to balance that and pushing his teammates to get better, which led to most of them thinking he was a real dick. Like when he told Smush Parker he wasn't even allowed to talk to him unless he played better, or when he famously drove Shaq out of LA. And he's been known to yell and cuss at his teammates in practice, and not care for them at all until they prove themselves to him. Number 3,
Dang.
Ron Artest. Does
course.
anything really need to be said here?
Nope.
Alright, I know, but we'll make it quick. Alright, so there's the obvious case of the malice at the palace,
Yeah.
where Artest beats up 2 fans, which instantly labeled him as a bad guy for the rest of his career. But a lot of that wasn't really his fault, to be honest. I mean, punching someone in the face is always your fault. But the point is, he put a semi-hard foul on Ben Wallace, and in
Yeah.
return got shoved the length of Sam Cassell's forehead across the court. And even then decided to play it cool and just chill out on the commentator's table. But then the beer cup hits him. And then he runs up and starts to beat down the wrong fan. Okay, so that whole thing's on him.
Dang.
But he did try to
Wow.
play it cool. And he did almost knock the second fan out, but that fan ran onto the court looking ready to fight Artest anyways.
Yeah.
But who are we kidding? This is the list of the 10 meanest players, and
May the
Ron
world
Artest
peace,
has
huh?
proved that he belongs here by being one of the players most ready to fight at all times, and oh yeah,
That was-
almost knocking James Harden's head off of his
That's
shoulder.
crazy.
Number 2, Karl Malone. If you see my Where Are They Now Karl Malone video, you might know where this one is headed. So in 1980, when Karl Malone was 17, he had twins with a woman named Benita Ford. And then 3 years later, when he was 20, he did the dirty with a girl named Gloria Bell, who was 13 years old. Then in 1998, 18 years after the twins were born, a newspaper article came out revealing to the public that they were his kids. So as a result, only after the article came out, Karl Malone met the twins for the first time, who are now 18 years old. And
Wow.
since then, he's kept a good relationship with them and has called them part of his family. But as for his other son he had when he was 20, well, he did turn out to be an NFL player, but Karl Malone has never even publicly talked about him and has only ever met him once when he went to one of Karl Malone's signings after graduating high school, only for Malone to tell him it was too late for them to have a relationship. Like, what? How can you say it was too late after you were the one that didn't try? Number 1.
Bruh, like, what? I am confused by that. Look, first off, I would not, like, when I bring a kid into this world, I don't care what the situation is. Like, if I'm not cool with the mom, I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna be like, all right, I won't be cool with the mom. But I'm like, look, I would have respect for the mom. Just if it's one of those situations where she's like, I'm not allowed to see the kid, I would try to build up like something, just a stable relationship to where I'm able to just see my kid. But I'm like, I don't want it to be a situation where, yeah, I don't end up seeing my kid until he or she is 18 years old. I know I could not live life like that. I'm sorry, but no, I'm like, I would have to see my kid. I'm like, I don't care if it's like, on certain days of the week, certain days throughout the year, but I'm like, I got to see my kid. I'm like, it's one of those things. I'm like, I can't go, like, I don't have kids, but I'm like, I know for a fact I would not be able to go for a long period of time without seeing my kid. So yeah, something like that. And then on top of that, if it was like a Karl Malone situation where the kid, he ends up meeting up with me, I probably would cry. Like, I'm saying, like, that's some stuff where it's like, I finally get to meet my son. Like, that's not something I'm like gonna be like, oh nah, like it's too late. That is, bro. And let's see what Michael Jordan has to say, because I'm like, honestly, I think that freaking Kevin Garnett and Karl Malone ones, those are definitely, that's like number 1 for me. But no, let's see Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan. MJ might be the NBA's greatest player of all time, but sadly he's the NBA's greatest jerk of all time too. And the two go hand in hand pretty well, because it's common knowledge that Jordan was the most competitive player of all time, but he'd constantly take things too far, whether it was on the court or in his personal life. There's so many stories out there of why Michael Jordan is a terrible person, and there's enough to make an entire video on.
I know there's that one rapper that did that song. What was that song called? Like Catch Me Riding Dirty. That song. But what was that guy's name? Like Chameleonaire or something like that. Yeah, Chameleonaire. But I think he did say that there was a time where he walked up on Michael Jordan, and Michael Jordan was just like, man, F you, get out of my face. And I was like, dang, bro. Like, if that's true, I'm like, dang, was that necessary for what?
Alone. But hey, since we don't have that much time, I'm gonna quickly name them off. He's ruined Muggsy Bogues, Rodney McRae, and possibly Kwame Brown's entire careers with just his trash talk. He told the rapper he'd only take a picture with them for $15,000, got beat by Chuck Daly in a friendly game of golf, so he banged on his door at 6 a.m. the next morning until he woke up to play him again so Jordan could win. He's punched multiple teammates in the face, including Steve Kerr, roasted everyone from his past in his Hall of Fame speech instead of thanking them, defriended Charles Barkley because he called him a terrible GM, and even cheated to beat an old lady in a game of cards. And shockingly, well, maybe not, these aren't even all the stories out there that prove MJ is a terrible person. Jordan can be your idol on the court, but he probably shouldn't be off the court. And there you have it. The 10 greatest players in NBA history. This video might have made you lose respect for some of your favorite players, but these stories had to be put out there. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll catch you next video.
I don't think anything's as worse than the Karl Malone and the Kevin Garnett ones. I'm like, yeah, I would rather be known as somebody that's yelling at my teammates, and that, like, just overall make them a better player. But I will. My thing is that I will never disrespect somebody's like long lost or loved one that passed away, and then I won't look my 20 something year old kid in the face and be like, I can't, no, we can't be cool with each other, like that's, or it's too late for us to start a relationship. That's wild. That is super super wild, man. Anyways, yeah. Like this is crazy, bro. That was a crazy video. But yeah, make sure you guys go subscribe to Austin Sweet for more videos like this. Like, subscribe to me too. I will talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for watching, and peace.